Yeah, because there's a bunch of us who are tired of this of the bullshit. We want that real essence. So, which is why the jam works. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Bro, like art moves when we move. The world moves when black people move.
That's true.
That's facts and that's period.
We
We are the trend.
Lyonzo was an artist and the leader and creator of the Global Village. Global Village is one of the most unique experiences I've ever witnessed. It's a live performance where the audience is the star. It brings together a multitude of artists in different spheres, from dancers to musicians to spoken word artists to singers to rappers, and everyone gets a turn to showcase their talent and their gift. The energy in there is always incredible. Lyonzo is the clear leader of this movement. It's a movement that promotes unity, diversity, spirituality, and wellness. There's a togetherness and an energy that is really hard to find anywhere else.
Success is calling, I'm on my way. My dreams are calling, I'm on my way. My goals are calling, I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
So I'm here today with my guy Lyonzo. We're going to talk about the origin of the Global Village program he has and how he wants to change the world. So what's going on, man? How you feeling?
I feel great, man. I feel good.
That's good.
It's hot. It's May. It's not raining no more.
Let's talk about what made you want to start this Global Village program. What was the origin of that?
So Global Village is a company, right? So it's an entertainment and wellness company. What made me start it originally was my mom took me out to Honduras when I was 19. I'll be 27 in 4 hours. So my mom took me out to Honduras. I forgot what I wanted. I think it was some sneakers or something. But I asked her for something, and then she bought it, and I didn't want it. So then she was like, we're going to Honduras.
Okay.
Literally happened like that. She was like, we're going to Honduras. So she took me to Honduras, and when I was there, it was really a big culture shock. I get off the plane. We in the airport. The security guards got the big ass shotguns.
Right.
Like, it ain't no pistol. Nah, we ain't playing over here. So they had the big ass shotguns, and then like once I was there, I was like, all right, this is different. But when I got to the village, my family's village is called Sambo Creek, right? So once I got to Sambo Creek, the first thing I saw was one of my cousins. He was running down the street, but he didn't have shoes on. But he was mad comfortable, bro. Like, to me, I saw it, but to him, he was running with no shoes on.
This is how they live.
Right. And then, so my family's from a tribe called the Garifuna tribe. So that's my culture. That's my heritage. So basically what the Garifuna culture is, I'll get back into the story, but basically what the Garifuna culture is during the slave trade, the human trafficking that we all know of. Instead of landing in North America, we landed in St. Vincent. So when we landed in St. Vincent so my family, it stems from West Africa, from Ghana.
Right.
And then from there, we landed in the Caribbean islands of St. Vincent, and the people there at the time were called the Caribs, right? The Caribbeans. And then the Africans and the Caribs, when they made it, they created this tribe called Garifuna.
Okay, nice.
Okay. So, long story short, now I'm back in the village and I'm seeing this kid running with no shoes on, and I'm like, all right, cool. I see him, I see my family, they're drumming to Garifuna music, which is called punta, right? So they're drumming, boom. Over here, my aunt's cooking, all right? So now it's Garifuna food,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And then at that moment, I was like, village. All right, so I was thinking village.
How old were you when you made this trip?
19.
19?
Yeah, my mom took me over there when I was 19, after my freshman year of college.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, all right, cool. So now I'm thinking village, and then one thing that hit home was my aunt was cooking dinner, and the AC was broke, and it's hot as hell. So Honduras is dead on the equator.
Right.
Alright, so like it's hot, bro. Super hot.
Right.
So, the AC was broke, so she needed it fixed. But she didn't have money, but she had food. And the guy, the mechanic, the AC fixer, whatever you want to call it, air conditioner fixer,
Right.
He needed food that day. You know, like he didn't know what he was gonna eat that night.
Right.
So she made him dinner, and he fixed the AC.
Right, so they
and
traded.
Then and I was like, oh, bartering, like we don't need money to gain what we need. You know, it helps. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
You know, so I was like, okay, cool. Resources, like community, you know.
Community.
But I didn't know at the time that's what my mind was thinking. But that's
You were
like
just absorbing it
I was
in.
just absorbing it in because it was a complete culture shock.
Right.
You know, so I'm Afro Latino. My first language is Spanish. So one of the big culture shocks there was that they didn't even understand my Spanish.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, because it's different.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a
you
whole
know,
thing.
I like how I just said it's a whole thing. If
Right.
somebody's coming to the States to learn English, they're not going to teach that in the school.
Right.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, slang, and most people talk in slang, some sort of slang.
Slang has now become like proper.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's in the dictionary.
Right.
Right.
So from there, I come back home, and I had one friend who was Asian, one friend who was Dominican, and I was telling them the story, and I was like, bro, it's the same thing. And my one friend, Mavi, he's in Cali, he's from South Africa. He was like, bro, it's the same thing back home. And then I was like, global. So Global Village.
Right.
And that's where it linked up, and that's where it connected. Fast forward, I started out as an MC, right? And then something hit me where like I just kind of lost the passion for it. You know, I really lost the passion for it. One, because like I really just felt the politics of it all, you know, and like I don't like feeling that other people have control of my career.
Right.
So I knew that I had to like put it back in my hands somehow, some way, somehow. So I took a hiatus after the Made in America after party. I think that was 2016. We did an after party event with Yes Jules and like Chance the Rapper was there, Lil Uzi was there. All like the local artists who were like doing things at the moment were there. And I saw how they were trying to really just like, they were showing for the other artists that like I'm here.
Right.
You know, but the audience wasn't getting that feel. And performance and music is literally what keeps me alive, bro.
Right.
So when I was there and I realized that I didn't get that energy, I was like, there's something wrong here. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't music.
Right.
This isn't music.
Yeah,
You know
the
what I mean?
business of music takes so much of the love of the
So
creation
much for
of
the
it,
love.
because like it becomes more about how you can market it, how you can position it to reach a mass audience, instead of just people stop making what they really want to make, and
It
they
becomes
start,
a job.
Yeah, it becomes a job, and then why do that as a job?
And it was crazy because at the time I'm making an album, I'm making an EP. It was called Escape the World. And I'm making the EP. I'm like, all right, do people want to hear this? Will people want to hear this? Will people want to hear that? It became science
Right.
and not art.
Right.
You know. So we're performing, and the audience feels that the energy is just not for them. And the shit was packed at Union Transfers, 500 people, maybe 700. But bro, like they was not hype once.
Right.
Which
Well,
is weird.
A lot of times they were only there to see who they want to see.
Right.
Like,
bro,
they
Chance came out. And people was like,
just chilling, because everybody's too cool. Like nobody wants to just rock out.
so I was like, all right, cool. So I took a hiatus, bro. Like my last performance I did, it was like this POV Underground art show that Rec was hosting. And that was my last show, and I was like, all right, cool. I just want to do something different. So I just like studied deep into my history, like my childhood, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, when did I fall in love with music? When did I fall in love with just like people? And it was just as a kid, having I'm Latino,
Right.
so the parties don't stop till like 6 a.m.
Right.
And I had my aunts, my cousins. Is it picking up the sound?
Nah, it probably will, but it's all right. It'll pick us up more. So
Okay,
it'll be good.
so yeah, so just like house parties, my cousins drumming, people dancing, having fun, having food, and that's when I fell in love with music.
Right.
You know what I mean? The organic dancing, you know what I mean? All that. So I was like, all right, cool. Let me take all that and make a jam session. So literally the jam is exactly what my house parties used to be with my family.
Nice.
It's literally that.
So it's taking
Just
all
on,
the
just
way back, right.
well, not just that. It's amplified.
Yeah, it's
you know,
amplified, but it's from the core essence of
Yeah.
where your love for music came and
Yeah.
and where your roots are from. I wanna talk about that real quick because I mean I think that you are I guess lucky in a way that you can trace your roots back and find your tribe. Because I think like you one of the biggest problems I think the African American community at large or black people
There's no
because it's not just
foundation.
it's not just African American community, it's like most communities that minority communities at large. We don't have a foundation. We can't go like I did an ancestry test and it tells me you know you got some people here, but how would I go back and find my tribe, like my exact people and the culture that I'm from and experience the food that they have and the music that they make? Like that right there is a gift, and I think that's one of the interesting things about this because like you can really feel that core essence of a tribe like nature here, and I think that's one of the things we need to protect and reestablish. And I think you're doing a good service by creating this because it creates that feeling for people that never felt that. And what else do you think we need to do as a community, like because you're like you were saying like with the other hip hop artists, what kind of how can we inject that into the art?
Inject what?
Inject that feeling of culture, inject that feeling of togetherness. Like I feel like it's starting to come back a little bit.
Yeah, you know, because there's a bunch of us who are tired of this of the bullshit. You know, we want that real essence. So, which is why the jam works. You know, because it's real. You know? And you'll see it tonight. You'll see it tonight for yourself. You know, but I think really what we need is, look, man, like we are culture.
Right.
So like, if we just do what we do, if we just are who we are, naturally it will inject itself.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Bro,
I
like
guess-
art moves when we move. The world moves when black people move.
That's true.
That's
very true.
that's facts and that's
Like,
period.
we-
Like we are the trend. We are the trend, bro.
Yep.
Like what we create now is going to be what's being sold on the billboards of Times Square 4 years from now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
But
you
that,
know,
I guess that's really what my question is because
bro,
that's
white people have dreads in that. Like white people,
That's
white
true.
people wear dashikis, bro.
Yeah, they wear dashikis, they wear dreads. I mean, everything we do, you know,
Ain't that crazy?
it's like everything we do that they do take and then they monetize it. My question is, how can we? Because one of the things that's important to me, and one of the things I'm going to be talking about with this whole project is how do we own that culture? How do we keep it? Not that we need to keep it to ourselves, because I think culture is meant to be shared. But how can we make sure that we gain and prosper from that, so that we can elevate ourselves, so we're not so systemically oppressed, so that
Right.
we're not economically oppressed. And I think that's really the question, because I mean, obvious, like, well, it's not obvious to everybody, but to us, obviously, we are culture. When we do things, that's what becomes hot. When we make every dance every kid is doing came from a black person. Like, all the fashion black people, right?
Right.
So like, how do we own that?
Yeah. So one, I just gotta say this is a dope ass interview. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And then two, you know, I'm not a politician. I don't know all the answers. You know, I just kind of move how I move, and I feel like how I move is right. You know.
Right.
And I think three is just we just gotta have patience, man. Because you know we come from a place where we don't have all the funds, you know, like, and then fame is shown to us that the only way that we're gonna be loved and appreciated is with fame, bro. Like either being a ball player or being an entertainer, you know, like people don't know that like you could be the best computer scientist and make more than a not even make more but have more impact. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like one, we just gotta have the patience to know that it's gonna take time, but if it's in you and it's meant for you, you're gonna get to where you need to get. Because I believe everybody gets a shot. It might not be Jay-Z or Beyonce, but you gonna get your shot. It's all about when that shot is there, how you looking at it. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta be ready for it.
But yeah, I believe everybody gets their shot. And another way that I feel like we own our art is by now it's changing. Like we don't need the labels, we don't need the corporations. You know what I'm saying? It helps.
They can help, but they can also hurt.
They can also hurt.
I think
Right.
to me, one of the things I think is necessary is like now we have the internet, so there's so much information that you can go out and find on your own so that you can, try to find the best deal for you as an artist, or try to find how you can start a label, or get that information. But I think so many people don't do that. They just look at Instagram, and like they don't do any research. They don't research. Here's a question I want to ask you. When you were researching your roots, how did you go about doing that? Like, what were the steps you took?
Oh, literally, it was my 24th birthday, and my mom asked me what I wanted to do for my birthday, and I was like, I just want to have a barbecue. I want to have a barbecue. The same way how we did it when we was kids, because I was just tired of the bar scene, you know, like my energy just didn't match that. Like to be honest, I just didn't feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So like, I went and I met with my aunts, and then I was just asking them about my background, you know, and they schooled me on everything. And then from there, that's when I met my other aunt, who like put me on to like the Garifuna culture, because my mom doesn't speak the language, you know, but my aunt is like all about it. She actually came from Honduras. She made me like, actually this bandana that I have, you know, all these like colors that I wear. Like,
right.
She, the day that I met her, I knew her my whole life, but she came over to the States and she brought me mad clothes, everything, and she took me to my uncle who runs a Garifuna program in the Bronx. So we're schooled, like this generation is schooled, and the language isn't lost, and the culture isn't lost, which is why I represent this. You know what I mean?
See, that's it right there. Like, it's that connection to a culture, I think.
But the thing is like, I just feel like, look, man, the thing is, it's like, all right, and I'm not trying to say that, all right, let's just put it like this. Fuck it, I mean, just keep it raw.
Let's keep it real.
All right. We never gonna know. Let's just leave it.
Right.
Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, you're never
gonna know. So like, we just can't keep we can't keep wasting time trying to know.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean? Hold on, but wait, hold on. Let me finish. So we're never gonna know, and we just have to accept that, like, yo, this hip hop shit is culture, bro. Like,
that's what I was gonna say.
All right, so we on the same.
We on the same page, because here's the thing that worries me though. Because hip hop, well, first, jazz was ours. Jazz was black culture when it came out in the early 1900s. Then we moved to, it became kind of like rock. Rock was ours. We started that, like, and hip hop is definitely ours. It was the most recent one. But if you look at the history of jazz and rock, we don't own those anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it became co-opted to a point that we don't even, like, as coming up, we don't rock with jazz. We don't rock, like, there's no real black jazz audience. No real black. I mean, there's some black kids that like rock, but the main audience is white.
Yeah.
So, and I'm watching that happen to hip hop now. Like, it's not that we're losing it, but we're losing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why one of the reasons I want to make this project is like, we have to be very mindful that we can, because we're creative. We're creators. We create culture. There will be something new that we will create, but we have to start protecting and owning it, because I think hip hop was the best tool for us to all connect. I mean, it was the first time, like, and it hits people like globally, all over the world. People rock with hip hop because it hits something in their core. It has that universal truth feeling. So, I mean, I agree. That is the new culture. But I just feel like we have to really take steps to protect that, and or evolve it to a point where it represents us more again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's there, man. And we're there. You know, we're building businesses. You know, like, we're not where we want to get, but we're farther than we've ever been.
That's true.
And that's something that we gotta respect. And I feel like as far as owning our like masters, and then with the streaming and with the internet, like, we all are our own businesses. Like, everybody in this room is their own business.
That's true.
So it's just like knowing, and then also schooling yourself on a business, like knowing that you don't gotta sign a record deal, you should sign a distribution deal. You know what I mean? Like knowing like what is it that you should do, instead of like just thinking that you gotta sign a 360-degree deal. I think it's just knowledge as well. And I think that like it's just at a point where not everything is on us.
Well,
on the other end, we have to take responsibility to know that there's infiltrators. You know what I mean? And we gotta school ourselves, and we have to like take these things on and know that people trying to take what we have because we have the energy.
Right.
You know?
People trying to monetize and they try to, you know, like we've been doing free labor in this country since the beginning of it. So that they try to make the money off of our backs, make the money off of us. And that's really one of the main things. So I don't know, how do I switch these gears? So let's talk about real quick, just like some modern topics. Like, how do you feel about what's going on in the NFL? They just said that, you know, they're not going to allow players to take a knee. They're going to be penalized.
First off, the fact that Colin Kaepernick, some teams did it, but the fact that after the owners or the commissioner was like, if you kneel, then you'll be suspended, or like. Right. And the fact that players didn't, it's like, man, like we still in slavery, you know?
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
It's crazy because it's like, man, it's still, this whole shit is like, the NFL was just gladiators, man. The NBA is gladiators.
80% of the NFL is black.
Yeah.
If they all just said, we're not playing this Sunday.
There'd be no NFL.
There'd be no NFL. So like that's that collective.
Like they could start, like, especially the NBA, the way it's set up is like LeBron, the way, like, these are the stars, like they literally, it'll take a lot of money, but they could start their own league, you know what I mean? And the people will follow them. Right, like, ain't nobody gonna turn on NBA TNT to watch Porzingis versus Dirk Nowitzki.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
So like, but then again, it's just like, it's all conditioning, man. That and right now we're just at a point where finally we're like, we hold value to ourselves.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is, you know, growing up in elementary school, people was calling each other African booty scratches, bro, like, and all this shit. Like, you was from Africa, you got the most jokes.
Right.
And that's facts, you know? And now we at a point where, bro, like, it's a proud thing to have braids in your hair. It's a proud thing to wear dashiki, you know? It's a proud thing to have beads on.
Right.
It's a proud thing, and this is all traces back to our history, man.
Right,
So
I
like,
think,
if anything, Kyle, I feel like we put a new meaning into like our African roots.
That's really what this is about. It's about tracing back to our original roots. And I think, like, you know, that's one of the reasons I want to talk to you, because your whole journey of going back is like, it's super powerful. But let's talk about real quick about how, you know, coming up, like, were you really aware of it, like when you were a kid? Because I mean, as a kid, I kind of felt like, you know, like we learned about racism, but you never really learned how systemic it was. They kind of push over it, and we see like all these images, and like the media is really confusing, and they put down black people so subtly, like it's like a subtle thing that it affects both white people and black people. Like the reason that white people are desensitized and that they feel like it's okay if a kid gets shot is the same reason that, you know, black people are afraid of other black people. They walk down the street, they're like, oh, look at those guys. Like, even when you're black, like it's like the media really, like you said, it really affects you. How do we combat that? Like, what would be the way to combat like the years of conditioning, the lack of the miseducation?
I don't know. I don't have that answer.
I mean, I don't know if anyone does. It's just
I just, you know what I mean? I just don't know. It's just like,
what are you saying? Oh.
At home, well, you know, there you go. Bianca has the answer, you know.
Bianca over there making teepee signs.
or create. All right, how about this? Like creating safe spaces, like because like, you know, at home, right? So the thing, at least for me, especially in the inner city, you know, growing up in the Bronx, I saw this a lot. Is that like our parents? We still carry on the traits of like our ancestors' parents. So like we have to break from that. So with that is making spaces like Global Village. Right. No plug, but like for real. You know what I'm saying?
I completely
because like creating a home where literally like as black people we could be ourselves, you know? And as black people, we don't have shame in like self-improvement, you know? So one thing I wanted to do was like yoga, meditation was a thing at a time where it's like, look at those hippies. Right. Look at these yogis. Right. And to go to a yoga class is like $35 an hour. You know what I'm saying? We don't got that like that 35, that's a whole week of trans pass. Right, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like I wanted to take that, and now people can meditate here for black people for $5.
Right.
You know.
Nice. See, that's another movement that's happening now. It's like, especially with particularly with black men. You know, that whole black men mental health and being aware of our psyche and being aware of the traumas we've been through, and starting to recognize that we've been ignoring a lot of the emotional abuse and the you know psychosomatic issues that we've had. I think it really is important that we create safe spaces like Global Village. I think that's right on the money. Like to talk about meditation, to talk about doing yoga, to talk about how to deal with these tragedies and these traumas that we've all dealt with.
There's a whole list of why that happened. You know what I mean? Especially with like the fathers not being in the household. You know what I mean? Like my mom raised me. My mom raised me.
Right.
I'm a man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what raised me was me being out all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I learned through trial and error. You know, there was no guy to tell me how to do this, how to do that. You know what I mean? I just knew right from wrong, and like, I'm just like, I just always had like a deep like empathy, and like, I was always like very self-aware. I would always ask why. You know what I mean? But like, you know, it just goes deep, bro. Like, but now we're at a point where like, finally, and you know what? And you know what helps, bro, is that Donald Trump is president. I don't care what no one says. Like, him being president has helped us in a different way, as people of color, because like we got to a point where it's like, yo, we gotta watch out for us now. Obama, I feel like when Obama was in office, we got comfortable.
Well, yeah,
bro. Like these past 2 years, as a culture, we have elevated extremely.
Well, I think they put there's always a sense of unity when there's a common enemy. And he showed that all the progress we thought we made was not really there. Like it was hidden. So now we realize we have to reevaluate our position in society, in America, in culture, and begin to unite to protect ourselves, to lift ourselves up, because the country that we thought we were in that was for us really isn't for us.
Not for us.
And that's one of that's one of the major issues.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, how much time you got on there? 26 minutes. What's the how do you pronounce it? Garifuna? Is that right? What is their like spiritual belief system? How's that work?
Well, we believe in black gods.
Okay.
You know, like, I don't want to get too deep in religion. You know what I mean? But I don't believe. I believe in a God, but I don't believe in religion.
Okay.
You
No,
know
we can
I mean?
talk about it, because that's one of the things a part of the thing I'm doing with the VooDoo man is like we were talking about the other day is like with VooDoo, it's misconstrued. Like, you know, like in America they look at it as like a black magic, and anything black is bad. So if it's black magic, it's bad to Americans. So but VooDoo was a religion from West Africa, VooDoo. And
VooDoo's fire.
Yeah, it's actually just, you know, honor. It's mostly about honoring your ancestors, but it doesn't preach turn the other cheek. So in Haiti, when the VooDoo priests started making a comeback, they started not accepting slavery, and that led to the revolution. But they don't really talk about that frequently. So I was just wondering what the Garifuna beliefs were. Yeah. And you know, because I think it's important that, you know, in your spiritual life, because I'm not really a religious subscriber, but I do think it's important that everything you do, you see yourself in that representation. So, you know what I mean, like to acknowledge black guys, whether you like, you know.
Yeah, well, personally, all right. So let's put it like this: like after I did research, we believed in black gods, but like now a lot of them believe in Jesus. You know what I mean? So like, but me, I believe in like I'm extremely spiritual, and my beliefs are in my ancestors in the universe. Like,
I agree.
I believe that my ancestors live through me. You know, I believe they speak through me. You know, and I just believe the universe guides me. Okay, that's it. But I don't think it's anything else than that. And if it whatever works for you, I respect it. Right. Because I get how deep and important it is to believe in something. Yeah. Because when you don't believe in shit, bro, that shit hurt. You lost as hell.
Yeah.
You feel lonely. So like,
you feel like only in the universe. Like, what's the point? And that's a dangerous place to be. So I do think it's important to have, you know, something to believe in, something that you do believe in. And I'm not trying to disrespect anyone's belief ever. I mean, even if, to me, if you believe in Jesus, I mean, Jesus was more than likely brown. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I don't want to comment on that. Right. Where they're going to come from.
They're going to come after us. But But yeah, man. Anything you want to say about where the Global Village has been? Because I know you guys are in different cities.
Yeah.
And how you're trying to expand. I'd like you to tell everybody.
Yeah, so as Global, we started in Philadelphia. We do it in Philadelphia bi-weekly. We now do Washington, D.C., the DMV area monthly. We do Brooklyn monthly, and we do London once every 6 months. And right now we're looking at Egypt, which is love. So that's cool. But yeah, the goal is really, man, to just get this energy to the masses. Like I believe that I'm here on this earth to get people to self-love, just to like accept themselves. Cause like, bro, like when you don't love yourself, it's hard, man.
Yeah, that's really the key.
I think that's just what I'm here to do that and bring this meditation, so love, whatever, wellness. Like I'm deep into wellness, bringing wellness to the urban community and not making it a luxury activity around the world. Like, the same way that people emulate Nicki Minaj twerking, or people idolize certain things, which is, if it works for you, it works for you.
Right.
This is not a judgment statement.
Right.
I'm here to this. I want somebody in Africa. I want a 6-year-old kid in Africa to see me meditating, and he thinks that's cool,
right,
because it's in pop culture. So that for me, it's not about fame. For me, it's about maximum influence.
Right, influence, impact, and affecting people's lives.
Because I know that's what I'm here to do.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I feel you on that.
What I'm saying?
So much respect to Lyonzo and the Global Village. He's gonna bring in his birthday in a very powerful way. We gonna capture some of that. Yeah. So respect, brother.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, man. VooDoo man.
VooDoo man. Skirt.